Hello, I'm Margaret Crabtree from KeeperKnit, and today I'm going to take you through crocheting a 3D angel using cotton yarn, Aran weight, a 4mm crochet hook. You'll also need a wee pair of scissors, a darning needle to weave in your threads, and a small piece of stuffing for the head. To begin with, we will start here by making 2 chain. There's a pattern available for this which you can also get a copy of. So to begin with, we start here with 2 chain. So make your loop for your crochet hook and then pop your hook in, and keep that first loop nice and loose because it's easier than the following part. So chain 2, and then into the first chain you're going to make 6 double crochet stitches. So straight in, pull it back through, yarn round and through the 2. So your double crochet stitch is just straight in, bring it back through, yarn round again and back through the 2. So we've got to do that 6 times in all. Now, that's your 6 times now. Whenever it's done 6 times, the next thing you do then is you slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet that you made. Yarn right round, back through the first one and through the second one. So the next thing you're going to do now is you're going to make 2 chain, and then under each stitch the whole way around we're going to put 2 half trebles. So it's yarn round your hook for a half treble, straight in, pull it back through, yarn round and through all 3 stitches, and 2 now under each of the top 2 loops. So we're beginning at the top of the head and working our way down the angel. Half trebles, 2 under each stitch. Right round to the last one, and by that stage you'll have 12 half trebles done. So to avoid a wee hole here, this last slip stitch is a bit big, so I'm just going to put one on it, and then I'll slip stitch into the very first of the half trebles. I'll just skip the 2 chain, and at the end of each row it gives you how many stitches you should have, so it's a really good idea to count that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. After that, round 3 now is back to your 2 chain and 1 half trebles in the same place, and we're still increasing in this row, but we're doing it a bit slower. So it's 1 half treble into the next stitch and then 2 into the following stitch. One into the next stitch and 2 into the following stitch. So right round you're putting 1 in, and then the following stitch gets 2. At the end of this round we'll have 18 half treble stitches. So on the way around it's 1 in, 2 in, 1 in, 2. One on again, and then 2 in the following stitch. one in again, and then join up with a slip stitch to your first, and there we have the 18. And again it'll tell you at the end of the row how many stitches you should have, and don't be afraid to use that information. The fourth round now is a half treble into every treble. I like to start my row off with 2 chain, and just don't count that then when you come to the end as a stitch. So it's this time, this row, it's just 1 half treble into each stitch. You'll still have 18 at the end of the round. And then we're going to join back up again with the slip stitch into the first half treble. So you can see now that you're getting a wee cup shape or saucer shape. So round 5, 6 and 7 are the same as round 4. So just to keep us on track, what I normally do is put on a wee page, and then we've completed round 4, so round 5, 6 and 7. It just means that if you leave it down to come back to it, you know which ones you've done. So you can chain 2 for beginning of the row, and we're back to 1 half treble stitch into each stitch the whole way around. And when you get to the last of the 18, then we're slip stitching straight into the first half treble, just top 2 loops only, and bring it right back through everything. Keep that stitch tight. So you can see now the wee head forming. Back again now, so we have completed row 5, so I would just put a wee mark through that, and then start row 6. 18, and then join with your slip stitch under your first 2 loops. And then that's round 6 completed. So we can move on then to round 7, same again, 2 chain and half trebles under every stitch. 1 half treble under each stitch. And then join up them with your slip stitch. Nice, so we have that done then. On round now the row 8. So row 8 is 2 chain, half treble in the next half treble. I'm just doing the first one again. And then you're going to half treble 2 together, decrease, so yarn round and in. Bring it back through, yarn round again and in the next one, bring it back through, and then yarn round and through all 5 stitches. So that's done once. So you're going to now do, that's half treble now in the next half treble. So the whole way around we're doing 1 half treble in the 1 stitch and then half treble and 2 together over the next 2 stitches. 1 in the following one, and then 2 together over the next 2. Now you may have noticed mine's is slightly different, and I'll tell you why. I don't do the yarn round for the second decrease because I think it makes it too thick. So if you just, I'll take that back out to show you. So it's yarn round and in, pull it back through. Now straight into the next stitch, bring it back. So you've only 4 stitches on your needle, and it doesn't be as thick as the beginning one. You can do it either way, whichever way you prefer. This row is 1 half treble into 1 stitch and then half treble 2 together over the following 2 stitches. So basically you're taking 2 stitches down to 1, so that's a decrease row. And then join up. Now you can see now that the opening at the bottom of the head has got much smaller because we've taken it down from 18 stitches to 12 stitches, and at this stage now we're going to use the stuffing to stuff the head. So I like to just get a bit off, put my thumb up inside it so that you've got it rounded, and then pop it up inside the head. Just push it in with your thumb the whole way in, and the excess then I push into the center of the hole, and it means that you've kept a nice rounded edge on the outside, and any lumpy bumpy bits are in the middle. You may find after you have the next row done that you could put another wee bit of stuffing on, but we'll leave it until then. Actually there's a bit of a hole there, so you could just tick off another smaller piece, because we've got this hole in the middle, and that's the bit that you're filling now with the inside the hole in the middle of the stuffing. And as I say, it keeps the outside edge nice and without bumps. So we've round 8 completed there now. So we're going to do round 9, and 9 is a half treble decrease 6 times. So we're going to take it down from 12 stitches to 6 stitches. So half treble two together, yarn round and on the first one, pull it back through, hook into the next stitch, bring it back through, and yarn round and through all 4. Yarn round and on the following stitch, back through, hook into the next one, bring it back through, yarn round and back through all 4 stitches. So yarn round and on again, pull it back through, hook in, back through, yarn round and through all 4 stitches. Same again next door, and you go straight in on the next 2 loops and all 4 off. At the end of this round then we'll have just the 12 stitches down to 6 stitches, and the same again. And then join with a slip stitch into the top of your first half treble. So at this stage now you can assess, could the head take any more stuffing? You don't want to overstuff the head, or you'll end up seeing through the stitching and just seeing the stuffing. And again, if you're going to put on small pieces at a time. Keep your yarn from getting tucked up on the side, and then just pop the filler in. You'll probably take another wee bit, and again put on small pieces and pop them in with your hook. And again, just feel round. If there's any bits that are particularly soft, you can push some of the inside stuffing towards that area, and then put your new piece of stuffing in again then to fill that wee gap. And that's us now. So that is the angel's head completed. So the actual angel herself, this is the head, and then we crochet on down the wing, the armholes and the upper body, and then we crochet then the lower body. This little angel has already been starched in liquid fabric stiffener, and I've just made up a cone so that for her to dry on without getting tampered with at all. So I'm sure if you can see her very well here, I'll lie her down. So that's it. That's her head now, so we've got her head completed. The wings for this angel are actually crocheted separately. These ones are blocked as well, so I have steeped those overnight in liquid fabric stiffener, and then block them in then onto a blocking board, and pin them out, and then when you take it off then the wings are stiff. So after row 9 is completed there now, and we're down to the 6 stitches, then we're going to go to row 10. I think it's a good idea to record the rows that you're on. If you leave the angel down to come back to it again, you don't have to search and count, you can see automatically where you are. So round 10, the remainder of the angel now is worked in rounds. So round 10 starts with chain 2. And then half treble in the same stitch, and we're going to work 2 half treble stitches now in the stitch along here, and we'll end up with 12 again then. So that's 2 in each stitch. So if we just count now, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And more there, and then mix this up. And then I'm going to put one on that last one. And I'm joining up with the first half treble slip stitch. So that round now we have 12 half trebles, and the round is joined into the second chain with and leaves you with 12 half trebles. So round now 10 is complete, and we're doing 11. And round 11 starts with chain 2, and then half treble in the same place as the joining, which is just at the bottom of the stitch. If this yarn splits as you're working it, take the stitch out again, because it's more difficult to use when it splits. A half treble in the next one, and then 2 half treble in the following one. So this round we're increasing again, so it's 2 half trebles in the one stitch and 1 half treble in the next stitch, right round, and you'll end up with 18 half trebles at the end of the row. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And at the end of this round we're going to count for 18 half trebles. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then join with a slip stitch on the top of your 2 chain. And that's round 11 completed. And then we're on round 12. So round 12 now, bring it down a bit, there we go. So round 12. Round 12 starts with 3 chain, so we're going to be working on treble stitches now this time. Treble in the same place as the joining stitch, which is just there. That stitch is usually tight, so just give it a good push on. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 half trebles, and then 2 trebles on the next one. So skip 2, which is 1, 2, and then 2 half trebles on the next, 2 trebles on the next half treble. 2 trebles on the next half treble, and you do that 5 times. So we're back to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip the next 2, which is 1, 2, and then 2 treble stitches then into the third one. So that's 1, 2. So back to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 half trebles, which is 1, 2, and then 2 treble stitches under that third stitch. So that's 1, 2. 5 chain again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2, 1, 2, and then 2 under the third. Oops. 1, 2. 5 chain again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then this round, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is 5, 1, 2, and on the third, 2 treble stitches, and then we finish off them with 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip the next two and then slip stitch up onto the top of the third chain, and that's that round complete. The next round now is round 13, so we can put down 13, and then this time we're making one chain and then one double crochet in the same place as the joining one, and then 2 double crochets in the next treble. So top 2 loops, 1, 2. Now into the 5 chain space we're going to work 5 treble stitches, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to repeat that. So the first double crochet gets the first treble gets 1 double crochet, and then the second gets 2 double crochets. Then the 5 chain space, you work 5 double crochets under that, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 double crochet under the top of the next treble and 2 double crochets under the following treble, and then we'll do 5 double crochets under the 5 chain space, 3, 4, 5, 1 double crochet under the top of the next treble and 2 double crochets under the second treble, 1, 2. Then back then to 5 double crochets under the 5 chain space, and 1 double crochet under the next treble and 2 double crochets under the second treble, then 1 double crochet under the 5 chain space, 2 double crochets in, 3 double crochets in, 4 double crochets in, and 5 double crochets in. So you have 5 double crochets in each chain loop, and you have 1 double crochet in the first treble and 2 double crochets in the second treble. We're back to 5 chain space again, so the 5 chain space has 5 double crochets under it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're back to the beginning, and at the beginning we're going to join with the slip stitch on the very first double crochet that we made, and then that's the end of round 13. So you can see the first treble had 1 double crochet and the second treble has 2 double crochets, then the 5 chain space has 5 double crochets right under the space. By the time you're finished that entire round, you will have 48 double crochets right round. So again, it's a good idea to count those. So here you can see you've got the 48 double crochets. Round 14 is our next round now, and round 14 starts with chain 5. So start off with 5 chain, 5 chain, skip the next double crochet and treble in the next. So we're just missing one there. Whoops. So we have 1 treble in that one, chain 2 and skip the next one. So the whole way around we're doing 1 treble, 2 chains, skipping the next one and trebling on the following one. So it's 1 treble, chain 2, miss 1 and treble in the next one, chain 2, miss 1 stitch and treble in the next stitch. So as we go round, we'll have 24 chain spaces by the time we get round. So 1 treble, 2 chain, miss 1 and 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 1 treble, 2 chain, miss 1, whoops, and 1 treble, 2 chain, miss 1 and 1 treble, 2 chain, miss 1 and 1 treble, 2 chain, miss 1 and 1 treble, 2 chain, skip 1 and 1 treble, chain 2, skip 1 and 1 treble, chain 2, skip 1 and 1 treble, So we've got the whole way around. The next thing we do then is 2 chain. We're going to join the third of the first 5 chains. So there's 1, 2, 3, and the third one, and catch your yarn and bring it through. So that's you slip stitch now. So you can see now in that round, we have treble, 2 chain, miss 1, treble, 2 chain, miss 1 the whole way around. And on your angel then, this is the round that you've just completed here. So if we fold this angel in half wingwise, you can see the shoulders now are forming shape. So on this area here, the yoke, we still have another round to do there before we fasten off. So that was round 14 completed. Now we're in round 15. Round 15 starts with slip stitching into the second chain space. So we're just here now. This pattern is also available to be got. So just slip stitch under the next chain space. And then you're going to work 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. And in the same space we're going to work 1 treble, 2 chains and 2 trebles. Now that's called a beginning shell. So the beginning shell is made up of 3 chain, 1 treble, 2 chain and 2 trebles, all under the 1, 2 chain space. The next thing you're going to do is 1 treble under the next treble, and then, well, I should actually have a double crochet there. Beginning shell, made next shell. I'm going to change that to a double crochet there actually. Double crochet and the next chain space. It just gives you a nice wee scallop. So it's 1 double crochet into the next chain space, and then we're going to work a shell, and the shell is made up of 2 treble stitches, 1, 2, 2 chains, 1, 2 and 2 trebles. So the shell is now 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles, all under the same space. The next space gets 1 double crochet. So we've got a shell, a double crochet, so we now are on a shell again. So it's 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. Shell made. Next space, 1 double crochet. Back at the next one is a shell again, so back to 2 treble stitches, 2 chains and a further 2 trebles and the same space. Then the next chain space now is 1 double crochet. So you can see now there was shell and the double crochet then helping to form a good scallop edge on it. So 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles. And we're working that the whole way around. At the end we'll have 12 shells. So double crochet, next chain 2 space and back to a shell again then. And then chain 1 and then another shell. So in the next chain 2 space, 1 double crochet. Next chain space, 1 shell. And another double crochet in the next chain 2 space. And then shell in the following one. Double crochet in the next chain 2 space and shell in the following 2 chain space. Double crochet in the next 2 chain space and shell in the following one. Double crochet in the next chain 2 space, shell in the following one, 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. And then our last chain 2 space is 1 double crochet, and then join up on the top of your third chain with your slip stitch, and that's the row complete. We also clip off at this point. So you can see now that the yoke shoulders of the angel have been made, and you can see on the angel where this is actually going. So we're ready then to start the skirt, which joins on the inside here. So for the skirt, hold the piece with the top of the head facing you. So the top of the head's facing you here like this. This is my body here. So the head's facing me and the right side's facing me. And going in behind on the chain that wasn't used is here. So remember we skipped a chain. That's it there. And we're going to join up again now. I'm working behind the shells and that round and the unused trebles. We're going to make 5 chain. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain, and we're actually on the skirt now, so we'll just mark that off and put skirt, and we're in round 1 of the skirt. So it's 1 treble and then 2 chain. So 5 trebles and treble in the next one, which is here, and then we're going to chain 2. We're going to do that 3 times, so that's once done, and to the second one and 2 chain, and under the third one then, so we're just on behind on the wee double crochet row that we didn't use the 1 stitch on. Chain 2. Now here we're going to skip 8, so it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so we're actually going into the 9th, under your 2 loops there, the 9th, and we're doing the same thing 3 times, so 1 2 and the next one. So where you're actually going is you've got your shells here, and the row that you had the eyelet row on, that you skipped the double crochet, 1 double crochet, that's exactly where you're going now. So this is the second time. Chain 2, and then for the third time, excuse me, and then for the 4th time. So we have 4 trebles with 2 chains in between, 2 more chain again. Now there should be 8 left here that we can skip as well, so we can count them. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and the 9th one is our 5 chain from the beginning of the row, so we count our 1 2 3. So just go through that wee bit again there. When you start off, you turn the shell row and the next eyelet row back up on itself, and we're using the row that the double crochet was missed on, and you begin with 5 chain there, and you move over to the next double crochet and treble on the hit, and then 2 chain, and the whole way around until you get 4 of those done, and we're skipping then 8 sets until we get to the 9th, doing your same thing here, and then we're skipping the 8 on this side as well, joining up them with a slip stitch into the top of the third chain. So it's 1 2 3, which means you'll have 2 chain left unworked. Bring that right back through everything, and now that's the first round of skirt completed. If you turn it this way, now you can see that this is the beginning of your body or the skirt here. So we have round 1 of the skirt completed, and round 2 now. So round 2 starts with here, we've got 3 chain, and then 3 chain in the next 2 chain space work a V-stitch. So we'll start off first of all with the 3 chain, 1 2 3, and then into the next 2 chain space, which is here, we're going to work 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble, and that's a V-stitch made. So the pattern will refer to a V-stitch now, and the V-stitch will be 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble. So the next thing we're going to do now is treble in the next treble, so under the top 2 loops, and then we're going to repeat that round. So in the next 2 chain space we're going to work a V, which is 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. Then the treble then is on its own, work 1 treble on the top of that. The next space now is a 2 chain space, so we're working a V-stitch on there, which is 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble. So the top of the treble itself now here, we're working 1 treble in there. And we're back to a 2 chain space again, which is a V, treble 1, chain 2 and treble 1, and that forms your V-stitch. one treble on the top of the treble, and then V-stitch. So it's yarn round and in, through 2 and through 2, chain 2, and another treble in the same 2 chain space. One treble on the top of the treble, then V-stitch, treble 1, chain 2, and treble 1. Now, one treble and the other treble on its single treble on its own. Whoops. And then the next 2 chain space, that gets a V. V is one treble, 2 chain, and 1 treble. One treble and the treble, and again chain 2 space, we work a V. So it's treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. And again, to finish the row off, count up your 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch under the 3rd chain. So we now have 8 V stitches, so we can count them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the end of each row it'll give you what you should have, so make sure and check those up each time. So that's round 2 of the skirt done, and now we're on round 3. Round 3, slip stitch into the next treble. So we've joined it with a slip stitch to the top of the 3 chains, so they want us to go on next door and slip stitch on the top of that 1 treble. They also want us to slip stitch under the next 2 chain space. So we slip stitch to finish the row on the 3 chain, then slip stitch under the next treble, and they also want you to slip stitch under the chain 2 space. So when you've chained under the space, we're going to make 5 chain. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is a beginning V-stitch. So at the previous row it told us that the 3 chain, 5 chain and a treble now is a beginning V-stitch. 5 chain and 1 treble under the previous V is a beginning chain. Skip the next treble of the same V-stitch and we're front posting now. So when you've used the V-stitch, that's it done, you move over to the next stitch, which is a treble, and for this treble stitch now we're front posting it. So it's roll around your needle. Instead of going under your top 2 loops, you go into the space, across the back and out the front. So front post is in from the front, across the back and out, and then yarn round and complete your treble as normal. So in the next stitch now we're V-stitching again. So it's 1 treble, 2 chain, and 1 treble. So V-stitch under the V-stitch, and then we're going to front post the treble of the next treble. The V-stitch is used, so we've used the treble, 2 chain and trebles all in there, then the V's and the treble stitches in a straight line. So it's just in, out and treble. And we're over to the next one, which is a chain 2 space, and we're working 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. That's us completed with the V-stitch. So we move over to the next treble, which is on in the middle of the here, in and out. So that's your front post treble. Then we're on a V-stitch again, which is 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble. Back to the single treble on its own here in the middle, and treble front post it. So you can see now that it's taking shape. So V-stitch is 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, all into the 2 chain space. So you skip the treble that's part of the V-stitch, and you work it, that's like the middle one here basically, between the two chain spaces, the middle one, and an out. And on to the next V then, 1 treble, 2 chain, and 1 treble. Back to the middle now, and in front post, and then a V-stitch. And front post, and V-stitch. And front post. So our last stitch crochet in that row is a front post, but we have to join the stitch up. So it's the 5 chain from the beginning of the row. So you count up 1, 2, 3, leave those 2 unworked, and slip stitch right through. So that gives you now, at the end of that round 3 of the skirt, you should have 8 V-stitches and 8 front posts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 V-stitches, and front posts are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's round 3 of the skirt completed, and we're in round 4 now. Now, round 4. Round 4 begins by slip stitching into the next 2 chain space. So we're at the, it's just a case then of slip stitching under the next chain space. It's just under 2 chain space, and beginning V-stitch is 5 chain, V into the V, and then front post then around the next front post. So this round is pretty similar to the last round. So you're V-stitching under the V with your treble 1, 2 chain, and treble 1, and then you're posting around the post, and V into the V, and front post the next front post treble. And again back to your V, treble, 2 chain, and treble. And then we're back again to front post treble. Again you'll have 8 V-stitches and 8 front post trebles at the end of this round as well. Front post and V-stitch, treble, 2 chain, and treble, and then front post, and then V, and then front post, and then join with your slip stitch under your 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3. So that now is round 4 of the skirt completed. You can see it's starting to take a wee bit of shape now. So rounds 5 and 6 are the same as round 4. So 5 and 6. So round 4 starts again with slip stitch and the 2 chain space, and then a starting V is 5 chain and 1 treble into the 2 chain space. Front post, your front post, and then V-stitch on the following stitch. So we just work that now the whole way around. V and the V, front post to front post, V and the V, front post to front post next, V and the V, front post, V, front post, after the V, two chains in the V, and front post. So when you get the last front post, then you're slip stitching into the third of the 5 chain. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch. So that now is round 5 completed, and round 6 is exactly the same. Starts off again with slip stitch under the 2 chain space, chain 5, and treble under V-stitch. Oops. Again, sometimes you find this yarn splits. If it does, take your stitch out again and work it over again. Front post and V-stitch. At the end of the round you'll have 8 V-stitches and 8 front post trebles. And again up the start of the row, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch in the third. So there we have now the rounds 4, 5 and 6 completed, which are all the same, and we're moving on now to round 7. So round 7 now, slip stitch in the 2 chain space as before, and then we're going to need to do a beginning V, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 treble in the same 2 chain space. This time you're chaining 1 before you do your front post, and then another chain 1 after the front post. So the difference in row 4, 5 and 6 and row 7 is this 1 chain is added before and after the front post treble. chain 1, front post, chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1 before the front post, and chain 1 after the front post. The V-stitch is just as normal on this row, and then chain 1 before your front post and chain 1 after your front post. Chain 1 before your front post and chain 1 after your front post. Normal V-stitch, 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. Then chain 1 before your front post, and chain 1 after your front post. Chain 1 before your front post, and chain 1 after your front post. Chain 1 before your front post and chain 1 after your front post. Back now to counting up 1, 2, 3 and slip stitch. So you can see now in this row that they're starting now to spread out a wee bit. So those 1 chains that you've done before and after the front post has made it, it's gone out now wider here. So that's row 7 completed, and now row 8 is the same as row 7. So it starts off again, slip stitch under your 2 chain space, chain 5 to start the row, 1 treble under the same place as the 2 chain, chain 1, front post, chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, front post, chain 1, V-stitch. So your V-stitches are in rows and your treble front posts are in rows. Chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, front post, chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, front post, one, two, three, slip stitch. So at the end of round 7 and 8, you'll still have your 8 V-stitches, you'll still have your 8 front posts, but you'll have 16 chain spaces as well. And then that's row 8 complete, and then row 9, slip stitch in the chain 2 space at the beginning, and the same slip stitch in the chain 2 space and do a beginning shell. So a beginning shell is 1, 2, 3, chain, 1 treble, 2 chain. The beginning shell, you'll actually get the instructions for the beginning shell. So the beginning shell is 3 chain, 1 treble, 2 chain and 2 trebles. So chain 1, treble around the front post, chain 1, and then work the shell, which is 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. So back to 1 chain, front post treble, 1 chain and back again to 2 trebles, 1, 2, 2 chain and back in again with your other 2 treble stitches. So you can see now you've got a front post treble, a chain, then the shell this time has 2 treble stitches, 2 chain stitches and 2 treble stitches all under the V from the previous row. So all the way around chain 1 before and after your front post treble, chain 1 and then to the next V with 2 treble stitches, 1, 2, 2 chain stitches and then again 1, 2, 2 chain, chain 1, front post, chain 1 and back to your shell, treble 2, chain 2, treble 2, all in the same V stitch. And chain 1, treble front post, chain 1, treble 2, 2 chain and 2 trebles. Chain 1, front post, chain 1, shell, 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. One chain, 1 front post, 1 chain and join up with a slip stitch under your 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3. Now at this stage you can finish off and that'll be your 9 rows of skirt done, but if you wish to make it longer you could do the same row again on the bottom, which would add extra length if you so wished. I'm going to clip off now and make sure and leave enough yarn to weave in the end, because if you cut it too short there's a possibility it can unravel. So thread your darning needle, and then take your yarn up inside, up through a nice big thick part of stitching so that it's not going to pop out again, and away from the edge of the angel. So that up in, and then clip off then carefully your excess amount. So we have another one here to sew in, and again take it away from the edge, and then you can weave it in through a nice thick piece. There we go, and clip off your excess then. So this stage now, there's another one on there, we'll get that later. So there's that's your angel body and head and skirt done, and the next thing we're going to start on now is the wings. So the wing begins again, we can just turn it over for wing, and row 1. Row 1 start at the beginning is chain 2. Again, keep this first chain nice and loose. So chain 1, and then 2, chain 2, and into that very first one then you're going to work the 6 double crochet again. So it's a good idea to keep that loose so you can get your hook into it. Start that over again. It's about right, there we go. So in the first one now we're going to put 6 double crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you don't join up with a slip stitch or anything here. You actually chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now you put 4 trebles into the same place. So you're turning actually and trebling 4. So it's 1. Oh, it does say here to join. My mistake is. Slip stitch under the first, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same place you're working 4 trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 trebles under the same double crochet as the joining one. So half treble in the next one. There we go. And double crochet in the next one. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Double crochet in the next double crochet. And half treble in the next crochet, next double crochet, and then 4 half trebles, 4 trebles in the next one. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And that all goes in the same place, and then it tells you to slip stitch in the next 3 chains of the beginning chain 3. So that last 4 trebles, when 4 trebles, 3 chain, and the slip stitch went all in the same stitch. Now it wants you to slip stitch up the 3 chain. Let me see if I can show this better. You now have to slip stitch up these 3 chain from the very beginning of the row. So that's 1, and the next one is 2, and then in the next one is 3. So that's a 3 slip stitch now up here. So you did 4 treble, 3 chain and a slip stitch all into the stitch here, and then you slip stitch up this next 3 from the beginning. So chain 2 now, so that was the rounds 1 and 2 done, and we're on 3, or we're back to row 1 again now. So the remainder of the wing is worked in rows. So chain 2, and then in the next stitch work 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. So that's a V-stitch made now on the wing, and 1 treble in the next stitch. So that's 1 treble in the next stitch. So you work that a repeat from the asterisk twice more. So in the next stitch work a V-stitch, which is 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble, and then 1 treble in the next treble, and then we're doing a V-stitch in the next one, 1, 2 chain and 1 treble back in again, and then 1 treble in the next stitch. So that's it done now, the twice more, and that brings us up as far as the 3 chain space. So into the 3 chain space we have to work a V-stitch and a treble. So the V-stitch is 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble, and that's the V-stitch formed. And the next thing they want is 1 more treble as well. So at this stage now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 2 chain spaces. So you have to make 2 chain and turn. So you can see from here that you haven't used the rest of those stitches. They're left unworked. You don't use those now, and you turn round. And that's row 1 done. Now row 2. So in the next 2 chain space work a V-stitch. So we've done the 2 chain and we're working a V-stitch straight into the chain 2 space. So we're actually V-ing on top of a V. Skip the next treble of the same V, and we're going to back post now around the next treble on its own. So it's yarn around your needle from the back across the front and out the back, and we're working a treble stitch. So a V in the next V, 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, and then we're going to back post the middle one. So it's put your hook in from the back across the front and out the back, get your yarn and bring it through, yarn round and through 2 and yarn round and through 2, V in the next V. So it's treble, 2 chain and treble, V back post treble, and then another V-stitch, and when you have that V-stitch done, right, and twice more, skip next, turn V and treble in the second of the 2 chain. So the 2 chain that we did at the beginning of the row, you're working your last treble into that. Treble into treble, so that's row 2, chain 2, 1, 2 and turn. So you can see now where we are here on this, and that's round 2 completed, and then we're on round 3 of the second part of the wing. So round 3 now starts with V-stitch and the next V-stitch. So it's 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, and this time the post is a front post, so it's yarn round your hook and then round the front, same as you did on the body, and then the V-stitch again. So we're front posting the one that was the back post the last time, so you can see all your ridges are on top of one another, the raised trebles. one treble, 2 chain and 1 treble as usual under the V, and then we're on a front post again, in and out, and back then to your V stitch, and then we're going to treble then on the top of the 2 chain. There we go. So now we are here, and you can see that we've got 4 sets of V, we've got 4 V stitches, and we have 3 post stitches there in the middle of them. So we're in 4 now. So 4 is V stitch, again 2 chain for turning, 1, 2, turn around, and V stitch and the V stitch, 2 chain, V second treble. Now we're back to the back post again, so it's yarn around your hook, in from behind, across the front and out the back again, and work your treble as normal. V stitch, treble, 2 chain and treble. Back to the back post, yarn around your hook from behind, across the back and out the front, and then on the end of your V stitch again, 2 chain and 1 treble, and then back post again, and then your last V stitch on this row, and then another treble in, and then 1 treble into the top of the 2 turning chain. There we go, and then chain 2 and turn. So in the next 2 chain space you're going to work the shell, which is 2 treble stitches, 1, 2, 1 chain, and a front post double crochet. So it's just no yarn around, straight in and out, chain 1 again, and then each V this time it's excuse me. So under each V stitch this time it's a shell. Shell's made up of two treble stitches, 2 chain stitches and 2 treble stitches. Then chain 1 and a front post double crochet. Shell in the V, one chain and double crochet around the front post, 1 chain, shell in the V, 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. On the second treble, chain 1 and then 1 treble into the top of the 2 chain. So that's the first wing completed. Clip off your yarn, bring it back through securely, and then weave on your end. Go, clip off the excess, and you can do the same end and this end as well. You can just put that on your there. snip it off. So for the second wing now, you can follow the diagram here. You hold the wing with the right side facing up and join the thread in this space here. So you pop your hook in there and chain 3. V-stitch in the same place, which is your treble. 2 chain and your treble. 1 treble into the next double crochet. And into the next stitch you're going to work 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, so basically a V-stitch. 1 treble into the next treble, and on the next stitch work 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble. So you have 1, 2, 3 sets of V's, and you're going to work 1 treble in the next one, and then on the top of the 3 chain you're going to work, which is here, work 1 treble. 2 chain and 2 trebles. And then chain 2 for the new row and turn. So we're going to be working now rows 2 to 5. So row 2, 3, 4 and 5 are all from the first angel. So we're down here now. So we're not using row 1, we're using row 2, and we're just going to V in the V-stitch, 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, and then back post treble, yarn around your hook and then around. So you're using the middle treble again, similar to what you did on your angel skirt. Back in with your V-stitch again, treble, 2 chain and treble, and then back post the middle treble there, the one that's on its own, and then V-stitch again, 1 treble, 2 chain and 1 treble, and then a back post treble around the middle one, and then a V-stitch. So you should have 4 V-stitches on this side of the wing, the same as you had on the other side of the wing, and then it's 1 treble then on the top of the chain, and then chain 2 to turn, and this time it's practically identical, and that you V under the V-stitch, as normal, and front post treble the next one. So you don't use your V-stitch on either one of them, it's a single treble that's on the centre. And then front post, and then treble, 2 chain and treble, front post, treble, 2 chain and treble for your V, and treble, and treble on the top of the 2 chain, chain 2 to turn. So so we're on now and twice another V-stitch back post. Is about that and that. Yep, we're on row 5 already. So that was row 1, and then 2, 3, 4, row 5. So row 5 now is chain 2 and turn, and work a V-stitch now. Into the V-stitch you're working the shell. So that's 1, 2, 2 trebles, 2 chains, and 2 trebles. So under your V-stitch this time, 2 treble stitches, 2 chain stitches, and 2 trebles, and you make 1 chain, and you do a front post. I'm facing the wrong way. 2, 3. So we're resuming here on row 4. So it's 2 chain and a V-stitch, 2 chain and a treble, and we're on a back post now for the posting, and then a V-stitch. And then a back post, and then a V-stitch, and then a back post, and another V-stitch, and then 1 treble then under the top of the 2 chain. Chain 2 to turn, and then we're on round 5. So round 5 is worked with a shell, which is the 2 trebles, two chains, and 2 trebles. Then chain 1 and front post double crochet, chain 1 and shell under the V. So it's 2 trebles, 1, 2, 2 chains and 2 trebles, all under the V-stitch, 1 chain and a front post double crochet, 1 chain and back to shell again, treble 2, 1, 2, chain 2 and treble 2 in the same V-stitch, 1, 2, 1 chain, front post double crochet, 1 chain, shell in the V, treble 2, 1, 2, chain 2 and treble 2, 1, 2, chain 1, and then 1 treble under the top of the 2 chain, and that is your wing completed. So clip off your yarn, finish it off securely, and then weave in your ends. So you can then decide if you wish, well, you can stitch your wings on place, so it's just a case of lining them up where you fancy them to be best. You can take them up higher, take them down low and stitch them on. But if you're going to stiffen your angel, I have used this fabric stiffener here. It's available in the craft shops throughout the town. So you would get, I use the plastic bags that have the seal tops on them. Open the bottle, pour it under the bag, and then pop your angel and your wings into the bag, and you need to let them soak overnight. They need to really absorb the liquid fabric stiffener. When you have that done, then I have made up, just using a piece of acetate, I made it up on the cone, just folded the page in half and taped it, and then you place the wet angel then on, push it down, what do you say? Place the wet angel on the, if you have a cone and it's cardboard, for example, you need to cover it with a plastic bag or something, or cling film, to make sure that it doesn't stick and dye your angel. Keep the angel on this one. This one has been on about a day, but she's still damp, because I put the head as well on the stuffing so that it'll sit good. When you put it on, give it a good tug down as you go along, and even throughout the day you can rearrange it as it starts to stiffen out a bit. Then you do this, the wings are slightly different, so you need to have like a blocking board. For this you can use a corrugated cardboard, but again covered with a plastic bag, and then you have to use stainless steel pins. These ones that I use are just florist pins, and then I would start pinning from the centre out. So say you pinned here and pinned there, and then just bring the wet wing out, and whichever way you want to position it you can. Just try and make sure that you do the same. What you do on this side you have to do on that side, so if that one went on there, then I need one on there. I had one on here, so I need one on there, and the same throughout, so that the wing is the same as best as possible on either side. So once you have that done then, and leave that on again, the longer you leave it on, the longer it dries out, the better it'll remain in shape. So I put the dry angel into the bag of liquid fabric stiffener. I don't wet the angel because they didn't stiffen well enough. Whenever this angel's totally dry then, and I take out the cone, then I will position her wings on at the back and stitch them on in place using my darning needle and a piece of the yarn that I've crocheted her with, but she's too damp at the minute to do that. So the pattern will be available as well for this, so whenever the launch is on, and you need help, the video will be available. There's a pattern available, and I'm on the end of the phone or on any of the social media sites. Thanks for your time and good luck crochet. Can't wait to see them all. Bye.